Hello, everybody. This is the part where I usually say welcome to Friend-Powered Friday Nights, but we are going to skip the next two Friend-Powered Friday Nights because, yes, we are drawing today. Because I know that Chapter 5 is coming now. They blessed us with it over the Nintendo Direct. So I'm like, I don't have time to start a new game before then. So I'm just going to do art streams on Fridays as well. It'll be double art streams for a bit. It'll be fun. Maybe people that normally only can do the games can show up for the arts. Yeah, just for the next 2 weeks we'll do art streams because I don't have anything else planned, basically. I'm like, I don't have time to start a new game before Chapter 5 inevitably hits me and I, explode and crash out and die. So, I'm like, okay, in that case, I will just do art streams on Friday, and it's also because I probably will not have much time to work on Eldritchrune because on some of my weekdays I'm going to try and work later on my job to make sure I get enough done because I'm taking some days off to play Chapter 5, so I need to make sure my work gets done. Yeah, yep. Because I could have done something small, but I'm like, what can I do in two sessions? I don't know. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do art because I know I always can get more Eldritchrune done, of course. And yeah, since I'm gonna have less time to work on it since I need to get some actual job work done, which at least is going well. At least that part is going pretty good. I got some good feedback on my boards today. Oh, another doodle request already. Okay, let's see, what is it? I wish shapes could be transferred to other computers easily. I'm gonna request, I want on Chapter 5, I want masked pacifist final boss form Soroba. Okay, let me see if I can look that up. Yeah, I gotta get stuff done. We gotta get stuff done. Yeah, I gotta watch the Molly Star. I think Molly and Andrew Cunningham are both streaming today. I'm gonna have to catch the VODs of that later because I couldn't do it while I was working, but I'm like, okay, I've got like a ton of VODs to watch before Chapter 5, so I gotta get to them. Where is DuckDuckGo? Let's see if I can look that up. Undertale, Yellow Soroba boss fight? See if that... Okay, yeah, with the mask and all the tails. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Back over to here. We're doing all kinds of characters. I'm just waiting for somebody to ask me to do the Florins because they're so cute. They're so cute. I'll go with undamaged. That might be a little bit easier. I mean, it's not hard to damage, just like, cracking it. Yeah, I've got to see that show, by the way. Bit of a complicated thing, although I guess this is in honor of Dark World in Japan. Appropriate music for it, too. In Japan. People sure have a lot of ideas on why it takes place in Japanese stuff, and my money's on it being Carol's influence right now. Okay. We've got... This is a cool boss form, although I haven't drawn it before, so it might be just a little bit of a copy of the reference. Why is writing hard? Same way all art is hard. All art is hard. It's all hard. So good, right? But yeah, I've heard really good things about Witch Hat. I'm probably pronouncing the name wrong. Aitler, whatever it is. I need to see it. I need to figure out where I'm supposed to see it because my options are limited. It's extremely cool, yeah. I've drawn it quite a few times for Patreon purposes. Now that I think about it, yeah, that's very cool. You got the cool stuff. Actually, hand should probably be like this. Keep 20 pages limit. What are you writing? What kind of thing are you writing? Is it for school? Is it for fun? For fun. Oh, that's nice. I guess it wouldn't make much sense for school, because school's kind of out. School's out. Oh, summer. Well, my parents are glad about that. They're teachers. They're glad school's out. Pretty honestly, it's actually... Before my mentors just keep it 20. No, that's actually a good idea. You want... Like, it really helps to give yourself limits, because if you don't... very easy to get kind of overwhelmed. That's why usually when people say, you know, when you make your first comic, make it a short one, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. Well, her mini tails. I'm pretty sure she's supposed to have 9, so make sure to see if we can do 9 tails. Like the 9-tailed fox. I'm doing issues and I have to rely paying an artist. Yeah. But still, that's how you do it. That's how you, that's a good way to do your projects. You know, set yourself a decent limit. If you don't know how to do something, pay somebody who does. Collaborate. Really good way to do stuff. It is hair. No, I want it to be tails. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. 8. 9. And I guess it can be like a ponytail, but I don't know, tails. So, yeah, it's hair. Okay, that makes sense. Here we go. Difficult boss fight. But a cool one. Actually, let me not have her tangent with the edge so much. There we go. Alright, yay! We're filling out oh, she's taking a big chunk of the page, but she's allowed because she's a boss. She's allowed to do that. Alright, back to it. Okay. I did kind of fumble in that part because, yep. If you do long form stuff, it's good to kind of practice it beforehand. I think the only reason why I was okay doing long form stuff even when I was younger was because, like, I've literally been doing that since I was a child. Like, when I was a little kid, like, we didn't have internet. We didn't really have consoles much either because my parents didn't like them. I spent much of my time just, like, pulling up a chair in the corner and drawing comics. So I would just do pages and pages and pages and pages of them. Like, I think I still have it, long comic with a bunch of, little mascot characters I did. And it's like 600 pages long. A lot of it's like gag strips, but some of it was like, full stories. I think I included like 5 main arcs in there, but otherwise it was like shorter, like, 1 page, Sunday funny strips. So because I've been doing that since I was a child, by the time I was like older, I was used to just doing incredibly long projects. Currently writing chapter 79. Uh-oh! That's the danger! Watch out! If you're not careful... I mean, if you can keep going, then keep going. But just be aware that the longer you go, the more danger there is involved with finishing. So if you can keep going at chapter 79, keep it up. If you found your groove. Do I still have them? I might have them somewhere. Hopefully I have them, like, in my closet. Otherwise, like, my parents might have them, in which case they're probably going to be put into storage somewhere, because they're really trying to clean out the house this summer. So I hopefully have them. I think I do have them somewhere in my closet. Maybe I don't have a scanner anymore. I'd have to take pictures of them. But yeah, those are comics I drew a lot when I was a kid. They were all drawn on paper. Again, we didn't really have internet or anything, so I just drew them all on paper. Come with a Pokemon and Zelda crossover comic. Oh, Ampharis is a good Pokemon. Oh, that's so cool. That your story was inspired by dogs of future past. That's awesome. I'm glad it was an inspiration to you. Seriously, again, like, that's like the coolest thing you can hear as an artist, is like people being like, oh, I was really inspired by what you did to make my own thing. Like, that's what it's all about. Whether that's you made something original or you did a fan thing, it feels good, man. Feels good. So what was my first fan thing? I think my first fan drawings were like Land Before Time. Because that came out in the 80s when I was a kidlet. Oh, sweet. I'm glad the characterization gave you ideas. I still like that backstory I did for them in the end. Like, I don't know if I much like how I characterized them in Dogs of Future Past. I would change some of that now if I were going to rewrite it. But by the time I got to like the origin story, I'm like, okay, I think I've got a better handle on what to do with them. They're not just, horrible, scary child. Don't get carpal tunnel. Don't do it. No. Don't be like me. Make sure you take breaks and stretch and all that stuff. You are fine to draw as long as you just, take care of your body as well. Because that's important. Entry school age summer camp, I remember drawing a very basic comic of like a bunch of animals. Wait, it's like what I had. I had like a dog and like some cats and mice. Yeah, a dog, cats, mouse. That's how I started. That was the comic I drew like hundreds of pages of when I was a kid. Because like, it's kind of like, that's what you see a lot in cartoons, so you would just kind of do your own take on it. I'm drinking weird radioactive juice that made them superpowers in a cape. It's true. Just as a kid, you're like, animals are cooler. Gosh, now I need to find those comics, see if I can't find them buried in my closet somewhere. I'm pretty sure I rescued them from my parents' place. I've told my parents, like, you can throw out most of my stuff, but if you find, like, sketchbooks, hang on to those and because I want to take... It's like the one thing you can't replace, As the joke goes. And one opening thing and then it stopped. Aw, too bad. I couldn't help it. I just drew comics all the time when I was a little kid, when I was in middle school, when I was in high school. I've just been doing that since I was little. And now I do it both for fun and job. Apparently, I just can't stop. Ah. You're up past your bedtime. No, make sure you get sleepies. Tomorrow's busy. I gotta go to the garden store again. Like a giant lizard with a robot body. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Kids know what's cool. Don't be worried about being cringe, because adults don't know what's cool. Kids know what's cool. It's true. Go to sleep. That's what Jeff the Killer. Whatever. I'm tired. I ate way too much Greek food for dinner. So I'm like, bleh. We'll throw your soul in a cage. I was like, I ate all my Greek food. Should I go and get a coffee before I stream? And now that I'm here, I'm like, I should not drink a coffee. I am too full. Jackingstein. Ooh, hero. That's yummy. I had shrimps. I wanted some shrimps. I got shrimps. They had all these flags up at the Greek restaurant for FIFA, because FIFA's going on, I guess. And I was, like, mad at myself because I was trying to, like, look at all the flags. And I'm like, can I guess? Like, can I name the countries these flags are for? And there was, like, a lot I didn't know. So I'm like, I feel stupid. I should know geography and countries more. Like, something simple like the flag. But, oh well. I need special lines. Can't forget that. Hello, ho. Thank you for coming. I usually do art streams on Friday, but because Deltarune Chapter 5 is coming soon, we're doing art streams instead, so that I can work on that while we're waiting for Chapter 5! I have the same problem about not knowing about the world. I mean, yes, but I still, it's like a nice thing to, know about the world. It's nice to know things. For no other sake than, like, to know things. You feel less dumb when you know things. And you don't have to look it up, but you just know. Yeah, I got like a bunch of them. I would probably say I got like, I could guess like 40 to 50% of the flags I saw, but not all of them. Productive use of the recovery weight. Asriel having a hard time with the folks. Is character banter easy for you? Just depends. Depends on the characters, I guess. And what I'm writing. Because usually when I'm writing, like, if I have a scene, like, in my head and I've, like, kind of played it out in my head, like, over and over again, like, that's obviously easy to write. If I don't, then I just gotta, like, think through it. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Like, I knew a lot of the basics. I knew, like, some European countries. And then, like, there's some Middle East countries here, too. Do I know some of these? Like, I know, like, maybe one or two, but not as much as I'd like, so. And, like, Africa, I'm really bad with African country flags. With, like, a few exceptions. So. That's the kind of thing that, you'd have to study a bit. Also, I think this might be my only remix I have of Dump. Nobody remixes Dump. Toughest part. Austria asked me if Alaska was an island because their school didn't really focus on that part of the map. Oops. I will maintain, even though I struggle with it, I will maintain that it is a really useful thing to know geography. It's important. If you learn geography in school, good. That's one of the things that's like one of those rare things that you learn in school that's actually like useful in your adult life is to know geography. Like, you don't have to know like everything. Like, again, I struggle with the flags. I don't know all of the capitals or anything like that, but just like, okay, I know which countries are here, relatively speaking. It's good to know. You write the same character for a long time, you encounter this mindset by second nature. Yeah, that's true. Although I do always worry about, like, flanderizing kind of thing. It's like this really difficult gap between, like, especially if you do any kind of long-term project, of, like, okay, am I getting them accurate in the situation where they feel kind of fresh and new, or am I just, like, repeating the things I already know about them kind of thing? It's tough, but it's fun. Geometry is the worst subject. Geometry I actually did okay at in school. That was like the one math I understood. Well, I never really learned algebra or anything like that. Oh no, calculus. I learned algebra. Most people learned algebra. I didn't learn calculus. The only flanderization was Ralsei. Yeah, we don't know much about. He keeps his thoughts close to him. All the proofs. Yeah, I got Birdley super wrong in Paper Trail because we know so little about him in Chapter 1. So I just didn't do much with him. And I don't think I was that accurate in Paper Trail. And what sciences was I good at? I was pretty decent at biology, but that was also because, like, in high school we had a fun biology class where it was marine biology because our high school was right next to the ocean. So we literally would, like, once a week all go in class and, like, walk over to the beach and take measurements and look for animals and stuff like that. And we had a big, like, semester long project where you're supposed to gather all your data from the beach stuff. And, like, that sounds super fun. Like, in a vacuum it was, but of course when you're in high school you don't want to count seagulls when you go to the beach. So the kids still complain. But it was fun. I did pretty well on my project. I've been replaying Chapter 1. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, that it's definitely cool. I need to fit. There's a bunch of playthroughs I want to finish. I gotta finish Snap Cube's playthrough because I was finally watching that and it was so good. Like, it was a really good playthrough, and I want to see what Molly does. So, stuff to watch. King is an outlier amongst Darkners. Yeah, Ralsei is more worried that Susie being bad will lead to a bad ending for her. Because of the prophecy, not just because be nice. Yeah, we now have more context for that. Oh, Jockington. I hope we get more Jockington next chapter. He needs his time in the limelight. She was a loose cannon at the start. She's still living on the edge. I do like that change you see in her where basically, like, before she learns that Darkners are objects, she just kind of, like, you know, will kick and punch stuff and, you know, treat objects kind of badly. And then as soon as she learns, oh, objects can be people in the dark world, she starts, like, getting concerned for them and wants to take care of them. And I think that's sweet. Jockington is jealous about Chris's legs. You enjoy running and sweating with or without legs? I'm just picturing, like, Noelle and Jockington on the track team, and Noelle's just, you know, running along with her little deer hooves, and Jockington is doing whatever he would do. I'm sure Chapter 5 is going to end on a dark cliffhanger. That's my assumption. I don't think it's going to be, like, a full-on light story. Like, even Chapter 3, you know, very clearly was not all fun and smiles. Shown in different forms after Chapter 3, yeah. I think it's going to be a cliffhanger that fucks shit up. I do. I think it's going to be Noelle making a dark world, and we'll be like, oh shit, and then wait another 13 months or whatever. Yeah, I don't think Jebel's going to be important again. I think that was our time with him. Mostly, I'm just like, can we not do more with Spamton? I'm tired of Spamton. Let's move on from Spamton, please. I'm like, oh, I hope there's more Spamton. I'm like, I don't. I'm tired of Spamton. Although I would be down for more the Spamton Value Network, because Wayne Radio TV is really funny as Spamton A. Spamton. I prefer that. Yeah, he has been in the dust since 3 and 4. That's just true. True. This leaves with Chris switching sides going the night? Possibly. I kind of think that'll be more of a Chapter 6 thing. Where's my funny little guy? Got him a little bit in Chapter 2 with, like, him versus Task Manager, but it seems like once these guys turn into, like, objects, or armor, actually, not objects, that once they turn into armor, they kind of simmer down. Jebel at the bottom of the swimming pool, a skeleton. It's fine, he's smiling about it. Yeah, it was so minor. I think they're gonna lose their hand. Although I think that's gonna be, like, late Chapter 6 thing. I see a lot of, like, bingo things where it's like, oh, Chris will lose their hand this chapter. I'm like, guys, we got 2 more chapters. I actually don't think that something like that's gonna happen this early. That feels like a close to the end of the game kind of a situation. Could be wrong, but that's my read on it. Pacing. I do think Asriel's coming back at the end of the chapter. I think that is going to happen. Here he is, looking pretty annoyed with his parents. I just want him to come back and be over deaths and have moved on, and then that'll complicate all their plans, and that would be cool. Not because he doesn't like her anymore, but because he's tried to grow up and mature, and everybody else has not. And that would be cool. He's tried. I might need to draw a little Des and Asriel thing for an ask soon. Chapter 2 at least. Yeah, well, 3 NPCs closest to Spamton. True. The Spamton Jebel shipping stocks just plummeted after Tenna. I don't think Asgore's gonna die, personally. I don't think any Light World characters are gonna die, because that's just gonna derail the story too much. Like, whatever, Carol and them have planned, that's gotta get on hold because holy crap, this guy we all know just died. So I don't think that's happening. I don't think he's going to be very okay. I think he's going to... people who are like, oh, he's going to get his aura back. I'm like, dude, I think he's going to end up worse than he was before. But I don't think he's going to die. I think he's going to get hit with some really hard lessons. You think Asgore's time with Bratty Catty, whoever knows who else, was after deaths or before? I almost want to say kind of before, during. Like, I assume that Asriel and Des were dating when she vanished. And that was part of the difficulty of it. So, maybe he wasn't... Maybe before he started going out with Des, he was experimenting with Bratty and Catty. Get the sword is not bad. I mean, I agree. It's not hard to S-rank it. I did it on my first playthrough, whereas I couldn't even find the Garrison boss battle on my first playthrough, so... Getting S-rank, not hard, I don't think. They make it not terribly difficult. The real challenge is T-rank if you want to do it. Phantom ship was... Was it Addison's, really? I thought it was Javelin's Phantom. I mean, I'm not surprised if it was the Addisons, but... Asgore will be trapped in the sun. The biggest ball of all. People will be so mad if that happened. If Asgore was just out of commission for the almost the entire Dark World and he was like trapped in the sun or whatever. People would be so mad. You were mad for chapter 3? I'll be honest, that's kind of what I was expecting to happen. I'm like, I don't think Toriel's gonna be in the party. Something's gonna, like, be here to take her out of the equation. Like, as soon as I saw that ball show up and Tana was like, this is the world's greatest treasure. I'm like, it's Toriel. Toriel's there. It's Toriel. I was right. So, like, it feels like Asgore should be a more active participant compared to Toriel, but who the heck knows? Asgore's asylum is the literal sun. Would you rather be imprisoned on the moon like Luna, My Little Pony, or the sun like Asgore Dreamer? He's trapped in the sun. I don't even think I could be mad. I would just laugh, because people would hate that a lot. They're like, no, not again! No adults allowed in the Dark World. Go to your room, adults. Go to your jail. Prison is only for dads now. Prison is the sun. Good grief. Yeah, grandparents are allowed. Grandparent teachers are allowed. Garrison is allowed, but he's also already dead, so... Yeah, we'll definitely see Noelle in the Light World, at least. I think that's clear. But I don't think she's going to be in the Dark World. I think she will be in Chapter 6, for sure. I think we will finally get Dark World Noelle again in Chapter 6, but I don't think it'll be Chapter 5. Which is a little stinky. It's foreshadowed and everything! Jail for dads! Dad jail. No, Noelle in our Light World party! Yes, yes, yes! I want to see what she has to say about everything. Please let her be confused by Sans. On how many playthroughs and what to do. Yeah. No Night Crystal. Four Shadow Crystals. Yeah. I want to see the weird route. Oh! You're gonna run out of saves even though we have 3. I'm just gonna, like... I'm gonna kind of accept that I probably will not find stuff like the egg or the Shadow Crystal on my first playthrough because I'm really bad at finding that stuff. And I think I need to do a stretch break now. I'm really bad at finding that stuff. If I do find it, cool, but I'm not counting on it because I'm bad at that. But I'll get to it eventually if I don't in my first playthrough. Wait, Star Fox Remake comes out the day after? That's crazy. Cast your dark ritual. It'll work if you're good enough. Oh, I don't know how to do that with save files. I don't think Carol is literally going to put Susie in jail, even in the weird route. It'd be way more awkward if, like, Chris and Noelle are, like, going off to do their weird route thing and, like, Susie is still there and they're just ignoring her. That's worse, in my opinion, than her being in jail, like, physically separated from them. Like, her being present but, like, just socially shut out, that's worse to me. I think that would make Susie feel way worse. First playthrough Weird Root, all Shadow Crystals, passive perfect, violence, and aborted Weird Root. There's so many options. Dogs of Future Past alternate ending. I don't even know what I would do for an alternate ending for Dogs of Future Past. I have an alternate ending plan for Eldritchrune, but I'd probably just write that down. No sword rune, otherwise pacifist, just to be different. There's so many various differences in the ways you can play, and oftentimes, like, you don't even realize them until you see, like, somebody else play and they do something you just totally weren't expecting and get something new. Yeah, Susie being sidelined. No, my girl! My girl! Oh no! Yeah, I don't want to fight Jevil again. I know it would be nice to redo all of my files, but I think I'm just gonna leave them as is and accept them. I have at least one file that's like everything I need except for I didn't get the chapter 3 moss, so I will not chain true mossness, unfortunately. But I'm otherwise happy with my files. But I'm also like, I don't need to do weird route. I don't need to do all this stuff. I mostly just want to focus on all recruits, pacifists, trying to get all the shadow crystals kind of stuff. If I do something different, then I'll do something different. But that's my main thought, is just trying to save across that. Can I redo a chapter? Yes, you can. That is something I find interesting, is the fact that, like, you can play chapters out of order, which is interesting for a very linear game. Because, like, promotion... Yeah. Yeah. Looking anything up. That would be interesting. You get to experience whatever weird creepiness happens blind. But then you're probably gonna, if there's off ramps, you're more likely to accidentally hit an off ramp, so you gotta take that risk. Susie Motif starts playing again. She's in a bad place. Yeah, I don't want to fight the knight again. Ugh. That was already hard. That's why I don't want to go back and get that moss that I missed, because, like, that means I'd have to fight the knight again. That's hard. That's hard. Or else it just dies. More revivements before the night. You can get some out of the gacha machine, the gacha ball thing. I know there's like a revivement in chapter 1, and there's probably like 1 or 2 in chapter 2. Yeah, that's true. Alright, I will be right back for one more stretch and water and stuff! Alrighty, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, it's the Devil remix. It's a good one. There are 2 revivements in each of the first 3 chapters, so you can, I guess, maximize 6 revivements for the night. Plus, there's the revived dust, which I think is decently fine. Like, I think revived dust will at least get people that are swooned back on their feet. Yeah, I think I had the revived dust when I was fighting the knight. But I don't want to do it again because I'm not very good at it. I'm a little afraid of whatever the secret boss is going to be in chapter 5. If it is what my theory, my guess is, then I'm a little afeared. That's probably going to be tough, especially if this is going to be our last Shadow Crystal boss. I'll defeat it eventually, probably. If I can do the knight, I can probably do that boss, but I'm still afeared. I'm afeared. I find Jevil difficult no matter what, just because, like, those bullet patterns are really difficult for me to dodge. Spamton definitely the easiest fight. If you can officially dodge at least 1 or 2 attacks from the knight flawlessly. Yeah. I mean, it's at least decent if, like, you have no other healing items and you just need to get some people back up. Another wall to beat your head against, yay! At this point, for a secret boss, I am all in on Toby's Toho OC, Apple Girlington. Whether or not it actually is that, and I'm just like, the Toho OC. That's who it's going to be. That's my guess. If it's not that, then I don't know. And it'll be a big mystery. I'm like, I'm scared of Toho. I don't think I'll be good at it. Ah! I'm scared. Yeah, I guess I can see Weird Root Spamton being pretty difficult. I've never played it because I haven't played Weird Root, but it definitely looks difficult. Second hardest regular fight in the game? Yeah, I think so. I'm sure we'll have rematches against the knight too that will hopefully be at least a little bit more bearable. Because I imagine we'll have to like beat them for realsies. For story reasons. Fascinating. Fascinating. Alright, we'll do that with effects later. That is a hell of an introduction. Good grief. Yeah, like regular Root Spamton, really not that difficult because you have like 3 party members. Everybody can contribute and keeping each other up, whereas it's just you versus Spamton. Make any mistakes, then uh-oh. Knight may actually be like unmasked and weakened emotionally. I can see that. I can see that happening. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if we have multiple rematches. We could do something in like chapter 5 and then like our last one in like chapter 6 or 7. I could see that. If more attacks for it to be somewhat tricky. That makes sense. The party is getting stronger, which I think is actually the knight's goal. I think that is what the goal is. Shine that shows strife by strife. True. You're entering the endgame power boost. Give us all your powers, Malleus. Let's feel my technique. Woo-ha! Squeak, squeak, squeak. My music has been cut out? It's still going, I think. Can you hear me? Is my sound okay? Because music should be fine. Sort of the knight's main chapter as antagonist. I can see that. Like, I'm sure that they will be, another boss battle in the future. But I don't know if we'll be fighting them constantly. It's weird. Okay. I don't want the music too loud because I'll get copyright struck when I do the VOD. It's already a little bit louder than usual. So that might be why it's a little bit quiet. And if it gets copyright struck, then it's just like, okay, I just have to deal with it. It's not worth the hassle to deal with. Main mover and shaker are problems, yeah. I don't know, do you think, on the subject, Toby, you gotta find someone else for what? Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yes, true. Very true. Good grief. True. I promise, I'm sure he wants to find somebody else, but I'm sure there's some contractual thing where it is basically not an easy thing to get out of, and it's like, okay, what do I want to prioritize? Do I want to prioritize making the game or like fighting this? And you gotta pick your battles. But yeah, what a joke. What a jokey, what an unfunny joke. If only I hadn't hired my evil twin, pretty much. The sad thing is, like, probably going into that arrangement, it seemed fine. That can really happen to you, where, like, you're like, oh, this company looks like it'll be a good match for me. It does, licensing of indie music kind of stuff. I've heard good things. So you go into it not expecting things to go wrong, and then, like, things change over time, especially over, like, the 15 whatever years, the 10 years since Undertale has been happening. And all of a sudden, this place you thought was trustworthy is causing you actually a lot of problems, and it's bad. Like, if I was in that situation, I probably would have made the same choices. I'd be like, okay, this company looks good. Like, I don't know much about licensing. And, it sucks. In the fan music industry, who knows Sebastian? Oh. Okay. Well, supposedly, like, he was supposed to shut up and stop, talking and being the mouthpiece for, like, Undertale fan stuff. Like, he was promised not to do that, but because he's the CEO, he can basically do whatever he wants. And people are like, hey, stop, being a shit to people because, you're addicted to Twitter. And, like, these stupid people are just, stupid CEOs are rich enough that, like, and then they get addicted to online discourse. It's really pathetic. It's bad mouth, and I don't care. It should be bad mouth. It's really embarrassing how often, like, the people that have the most power and money are just the biggest man children. How being online just rots their brains, like, more than, like, normal people somehow. Okay, I'm probably not aware of, like, a more recent incident. I just, I saw Shadow of Roserade, quietly being frustrated about stuff, so I assumed it was some music copyright stuff. Either way, it's really obnoxious. He's affiliated with it between previous incidents and who he was talking to. Okay. If there was a beef on Twitter, I didn't see it because I'm not on Twitter anymore because I'm trying to love myself. I mean, very stupid thing. Yeah, good grief. Of course. Of course. Why are people like this? Why are those specific kinds of person like this? Tangentially made. The problem is like, he keeps like inserting himself into the fandom, and people keep like, because people are so desperate for news, they'll take what he says seriously, and then he obviously is gonna, keep working off of that. And it's like, y'all stop giving him attention, please. It's often the only way you can starve online trolls. Very inappropriate. On the other hand, responding to his random messages by spamming it. Yeah. And yeah, that is indeed very stupid. But it's like, okay, are you some random chud on Twitter, or are you the CEO of a company? Which one should you act like? Made a light jab in his response to say basically, oh, come on, dude. Oh my goodness, who cares? Ugh, that's so stupid. Oh my goodness, that's so stupid. What a dumb thing to mention. What a dumb thing to mention. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, that would drive me up the wall too. No wonder Shadow of Roserade was so annoyed. Like, come on. Well, that's really problematic of you. Shut up. What the heck? Have some perspective. That's why but hopefully when I do a big Deltarune project, after the full game is out, and I do music and sound, I'm gonna have to do all original music I commission from somebody, and not have to worry about licensed stuff, because Nightmare World. Which sucks because, like, a huge part of what makes Undertale and Deltarune, like, so special and important to people, what makes it so memorable, is the music. And we all know this. And it's being taken advantage of. That's why I play it during my streams, because it gets me pumped. It's inspiration. And again, people in charge of stuff gonna be pretty dumb often. All for the sake of what? Twitter clout? It's just so stupid. Like, I get it, we're all susceptible to that, but you gotta keep things in perspective. Post a screenshot of the important part in your server? Yeah, sure. Just post a warning of, like, hey, this is talking about, whatever. I'll get to it when I get to it. Though for music stuff, once Chapter 5 comes out, I'm gonna have to fill out my playlist more with Chapter 5 remixes. Which we've heard, like, almost no music for it, so I'm excited for what we get. Up and off topic? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If random question, if Rudy never met Carol, do you think he would try to marry Asgore? That'd be really funny. That'd be a heck of an AU to do. I don't know if he necessarily would, but it's fun to imagine. The happy ending for Rudy, the good ending. I really am wondering, like, okay, Rudy, what all did you guys see in her? It must have been something. She must have been more normal before dust disappeared. One would hope. Oh, wait. Okay. For Rouse, we are going to be all over the place in terms of layers here. It's going to be a little wild. It's harder to draw him now that he's fiery form. Like a Pokemon. Oh yeah, I listen to Undertale remixes all the time. From the beginning. I remember listening to those working on the My Little Pony movie in like 2016. Somewhere between Death's disappearance and the stress of being mayor, she went from regular strict to whatever. Yeah, something like that. Like, she might have been strict but bearable, and now it's just like pretty much abusive. Like, I don't want to, like, I feel like people kind of make these assumptions around abusive when I say that in regards to Noelle. It's like, that's possible without, you know, being physical. There's nuance involved there. But yeah, she was already probably a strict person, and then she became way less normal. Time for Britain to become even more normal. Oh my goodness, see, I'm already screwing up! Ah! I'm screwing up. Okay. I've got to pay attention to what I'm doing with Rouse. These are supposed to be on regular lines. Okay, if they're black, they're on character lines. If they're colored, they're on special lines. I'm gonna lose track, keep losing track of this. I know it. I'm gonna have to deal with switching around lines a whole bunch. Also, I'm a little bit surprised at, like, how many people are like, oh, Asgore's going to make the next Dark World, or Carol's going to make the next Dark World, and I'm like, I actually don't think that's the case at all. I'm pretty sure the Knight's going to be the one to make it. I'm trying to get Fire Rouse. He's changed from Ghost type, or Dark type, to Fire type. Hooray! As long as I'm doing stuff on the right layer. Whew. Also, I should probably bring back my thingy, so I'm aware of what I'm doing. Okay. I'm also of the mind that I don't think Carol's going to show up in the Dark World, which is a little sad, a little strange, but that is where I'm at right now. But she is spooky enough in the Light World, so she probably doesn't need to. Big, long claws! We like us some big, long claws! I'm gonna work for her being a red herring knight, plus I'm convinced she's gonna be Susie's first guess is every moment of trying to figure out who the knight is. Yeah, I can see that. I think especially if Carol keeps pestering Susie, then she would make that assumption. It's mostly a thing of like, okay, right now, Susie is not connecting Carol to Dark World stuff. She's just like, oh, Carol just kind of sucks. So there would need to be some kind of moment where she's like, wait a minute. She knows! Sort of thing. Previous mayor before Carol, no idea. They kind of indicate that she's been the mayor for like a long time. Probably for as long as she's lived there. Right, a lot of that will be effects. Fire effects. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever find out who the previous mayor is. The previous mayor, Dr. Gaster. What an act to follow. No, I hope not. That wouldn't be good. Small New England town. Tina Carroll makes even some vaguely threatening hint of the dark world. Susan Miles be like, wait, could she know? Yeah, I do think I can see Susie making that conclusion, jumping to that conclusion. I guess then the question is, would Carol let that slip that she knows? How careful would she be about keeping that information under wraps? Also, it says the prophecies across time and space, and someone pointed out that the prophecy panels routinely shatter. Interesting. Because they're made of glass. I guess that does lend to the thought that Gaster basically created the prophecy, wrote it. It does have this big flowery language that he likes to use. Yeah, at first I was like, okay, that doesn't seem to make sense because at the same time, Glaster. Yep, there we go. We've solved it. Because at the same time, Gaster seems like he wants the prophecy subverted. He doesn't seem like he's pro-prophecy. He's like, I look forward to creating a new future with you. Wow, it's so cool that you're fighting the night. I hope you can beat them, kind of thing. So, what are we supposed to infer if he wrote the prophecy but also wants it to be changed? Subverted, broken. Something interesting going on with that. I just do personally like the idea that basically, like, he is adapting this story from one that kind of previously existed that he liked but didn't like the ending, so he's like, okay, I'm going to change this into a way that, like, well, you know, the events will still play out, but we will get a different outcome. Basically, I like the idea that Garrison introduced in Chapter 4, basically, like, salvation through adaptation. Which I think could also be something pretty resonant with Toby, with how Toby's feeling. Hello, thank you for coming. I hope that your D&D session was fun. And that you beat the cool bagosh, or whatever you were doing. We are just drawn away on the scene where the dreamers finally meet Ralsei. And he's quite big and scary. Unlike the fluffy boy we know and love. The classics you've come to expect from the game you know and love. 4 rolls for initiative, sheesh. That's a lot of encounters. That's a lot of them. I do want to play me some D&D again, although we'll probably do the Neon Odyssey one, which looks really fun. Aesthetically, I'm like all about that, so I gotta pick some characters for that whenever we do it. Plus, I love that trailer that came out that was like Starlight Brigade kind of trailer. That was so cool. Dino Man, yeah, exactly. It could be like a space dinosaur. I want to be a space dinosaur who does like space dinosaur holograms and stuff like that. Only one person went down, and they're okay. That's good. The conches of her quinces! Oh no! Not my conches! My quinces! Yes, it's like, hey, that demon you tried to summon, they're here now. Your conches are about to be quenched. Is it your conches are about to be quenched or your quinces are about to be quenched? I don't know what would be the better joke. I'm probably equally fine. Meanwhile, Alphys is looking at me so sleepy. She's on her hammock. She's so sleepy. At one point in the day, she just, like, decided to rest her chin on, like, the edge of her, like, the edge of the glass or whatever for her tank, and, like, her beard got stuck on it. I'm like, girl, your beard. Sleepy girl. It's not quite time for her bedtime yet. A dino star. True. It's kind of weird. I feel like I've been, like, I don't know, drawing slower than I used to or something. So I'm like, what? I'm only on page 2? But I might just be estimating my progress wrong. So I suddenly realized, when is Father's Day? Is that this Sunday or is it next Sunday? I gotta figure out when to call my dad. Because I was looking at Asgore and I'm like, Father's Day. Wait, that's this month. Probably this? Okay, I better check. Next Sunday. Okay. Okay. I got time. Deconstructing the trope of absent parent. I hope we get some backstory on Susie. Half human Susie real. Yeah, this month is gonna be extremely weird time-wise. It's gonna mess me up. In this house, I'm not gonna go upstairs and pay him a visit. True. I live in a different country from my parents, so I pretty much just have to call them and be like, "Hi, how you doing?" I did live with them for quite a while though, so it's a miracle that I eventually moved as far as I did. Oh, another request. Okay, I gotta do this before Susie eating as she should. Is she like in a bed or like how do you want her eating? The theory is King to Susie's dad, what Queen is to Carol. I could see that. That is, I think, still possible. Is just a father who's like deeply unpleasant and unsupportive of, you know, of who is otherwise a pretty gentle creature. Artist choice. Okay, actually, I'm gonna take my stretch break now, and I'll think on it. I didn't think that far. It's fine. Might be nice to sound like I can put her in a bed or in a sleeping bag like she's camping. I don't want to put her in a box. That would be sad. Oh, no, I could put her in like her Dark World bed. I gotta look that up. She's actually using her cool bed, cool spike bed. That could be cute. Even though that's gonna be a more complicated bed to draw. Because we put spikes on it for reasons. Like back when I was first doing Paper Trail, I didn't think that Susie could go to the Dark World on her own, but now it seems like she can. So I really do wonder if she's just like, you know, she really doesn't want to go home after Chapter 4 stuff. If she really did just go to you know, Castletown and sleep in the bed that Ralsei gave her. Which is both sad and sweet. All these things and more. But yeah, I could see King having some parallels to Susie's dad the way that Queen does to Carol. Some parallels, anyway. She does deserve a good eep. I get the feeling neither of them are gonna sleep that night, though, because, like, how could they? Chris is gonna be doing doing whatever night conspiracy thing they have to do, and Susie's gonna be up doing something. No rest for the kids. I'm thinking that if kind of instead of Universal Father. I don't know. The thing is like, I don't really buy into Queen as Universal Mother either. The one way I saw it working was like this one fan art I saw. Did I repost that? I don't know if I did. But there was a really cool fan art I saw that was kind of like taking the idea of the various moms of Deltarune putting all of their anxieties into into the internet, into their searches and stuff like that, and Queen kind of thinking through all that information. But I don't know if it's Queen is supposed to be like, I represent everybody's mom kind of thing. I think she's very much supposed to represent Carol. But I don't know about that applying to Chris and Susie and Birdley. I think the other characters, it's a bit of a stretch. But it's obviously a pretty good match for Carol and Noelle. So I don't know if King would be the same way. Especially since, like, King was invented by Chris and probably does. I will be right back for one more stretch and water, and then we'll talk about that. Okay, I'm returning. And we gotta do that request. Once just to Toby apparently posted on Twitter for once just to tell Tumblr to bring back some account related to P-Jack. Prototype Jack from Tekken. Is that said video was a post from Tumblr saying excited for chapter 5 and it's apparently cruising content. Oh, that's really funny. That is funny. I don't know what's going on with P-Jack or whatever. Alright, let me look this up real quick. Deltarune Susie room. See if that comes up with something. There we go. Spike bed! Alright, we'll see how I do with snoozies. But, for Samurai Cowboy stuff, I kind of hope not. I do not care for Woody Theory. I want it to kind of go away, honestly. I find it to be obnoxious that people are like, this is a Woody thing, I don't care, please stop. So, I mean, it's possible that could show up because Samurai and Cowboy were like contemporary, but I find it to be obnoxious. Yeah, I don't mind Toby being silly. Okay, make sure I do that stuff. But they got banned recently. Yep. Here's her spike bed. Yeah, he doesn't shitpost very often. The reason why he doesn't shitpost very often is because of stuff like Woody Theory, because every shitpost he makes, people take 100% seriously. And they're like, this is the secret thing to... He's talking riddles to us. So he can't even shitpost anymore. Poor guy. This guy was born to shitpost, and his own success prevents him from shitposting. Yeah, you're gonna be serious, yeah. Okay, here's a sleepy snoozy. Move over a little bit. Your monsters can shit. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think they can, but beside the point. And Toby said in this shit post that this thing is not happening, so therefore it must be true. And like, no, sometimes he just shit posts. I think he should be allowed to do that. But he can't do it anymore because people will take it all seriously, so it sucks. It's not a super accurate bed. So I'm kind of making it up as I go. But, oh well. This is the snoozies. She is eepy, let her sleep. Meanwhile, Solana's up there lost in the back rooms while Susie's getting a good rest. There we go. Yay! And we can make this one a little bit smaller. Yeah, whether or not monsters can bleed, I think it is clear at least they can go to the bathroom. Because there's bathrooms in the places we've seen so far, so, I think that would mostly be due to, like, they eat regular food in this world, so... If they eat regular food, they will have to take regular poops. Blood may or may not be a part of that, but at the very least, that's a part of it. It'd be deeply inconvenient for Chris if, like, the only toilets in the entire town were, like, installed in people's houses just in order for them to get by. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the sprite is called that mostly because it's a joke off of the fact that, like, in Undertale, the sprite where he's watering the flowers, he's like, oh, I'm just done watering these flowers, like, and then we couldn't really see what was happening behind the cape. People were like, well, he's pissing on the flowers kind of thing, like, as a joke, so that was just kind of ran with in terms of he's not pissing on the flowers, but he is pissing in the toilet. Yeah, that stupid cape was in the way. You could not tell what he was doing. So, it was very easy people's imaginations to run away from them. That was probably unavoidable, but it is funny. Yeah, because he was like, oh, I gotta finish watering these flowers. So they're like, he's not pissing. This is a water thing. Watering can. I suddenly forgot the word. Good grief. A Sprite label piss. It's like, this is what you get, Soul, for like sneaking into the bathroom. Don't do that. You might catch people pissing. Well, let's not imagine that. Let's not. I think he respected his flowers way more than that. It was just a really bad look on that Sprite, but I don't think that ever happened in real life. In as much as real life matters for a video game. Which is very little. I'd have to be like super depressed and drunk Asgore or something. Yeah, no, they are different things because the buttercups are poisonous and the golden flowers that Flowey becomes and stuff like that, those are not the same flowers. But it's tricky because buttercups are like a yellow color, which you could say is golden. But no, he should not be drinking buttercup tea. That would be very bad. Don't do that. Golden flower tea is an actual thing. That would not surprise me. I could see it. Although I guess there's a lot of flowers you could count as golden, so I wonder if it's a specific flower. Or just, various flowers. Speaking of, I really need to find dandelions this weekend so I can start growing them for Alfies. Where are the dandelions? Well, dandelions are usually considered more poof than golden, but they can be golden. I think some people were giving, like, I saw some people giving options for what Chapter 5 will be called, what the title will be, and somebody suggested a golden hour. And I like that suggestion. I kind of hope that's what we get. One of those titles that can have like multiple meanings, same way late night kind of has multiple meanings. Yeah. I think that's a good option. We'll see what we actually get, but for a couple of reasons I think that'd be a nice one. I'm dealing with a whole lot of scared dreamers in this one. Very spooked. Yeah, how are they going to do Chapter 7? And I guess it depends on how Chapter 6 ends, which at some point I got to put out my my big theory post, or theory/fanfiction post. But at this point, maybe I should just wait until Chapter 5 is out and see if I change my mind on that at all, which I probably will. Or not. Who knows? Not me. Just to laugh at yourself. I could. The problem is I want to do, like, illustrations for it. I have, like, stuff I want to draw for it. And I'm like, I don't think I'll know if I'll have time to do, like, illustrations. Yeah, it's always the time. If I didn't have work to do, I could do it. But, I got work to do. I'm in the middle of my episode right now. At least it's going well, but if I had the time, I would. Because I want to draw, like, Dragon Susie and stuff like that. And, whatever kind of design I could come up with, like, for Angel Noel, which I don't really have any ideas for that. Probably have to just, like, actually sit down and sketch out various things and see if anything speaks to me or whatever. Design-wise. But that is tough, because I was already going to, I'm hoping, planning, Sunday's art stream will be cooking with kindness drawings, because I promised I would do some of those, so I want to do those. I just gotta prep them. Whereas this did not require prepping because it was already ready to go. Yeah, I kind of wish I could get chapter 6 and 7 and stuff out before 5, but Toby sprang it on us very suddenly. Which I'm not complaining about and complaining about, but mostly I'm not complaining about because I want to play it. Susie's room got crayons. True. It's interesting because she doesn't have a lot of like crowns on her person. And I'm probably mispronouncing it. Crown, crayon, crayon. Too similar. Because she's the king of the trash pile. And the spike pile. Whatever's involved in a spike pile. A pile of spikes. A little bit there. She's the trash man. In this case, it's gender neutral. True. True enough. We're going to be drawing a whole bunch of Rousey here. Finally get to draw Scary Rousey. The fun one. I was mostly referencing chapters 2 where she's like, I'm king of the trash pile. Or who's king of the trash pile now, kind of thing. And then she falls off and gets a boo-boo. Not much like that. They're to mix up for like fire and fur at the same time if it's supposed to hang down. Susie falling off stuff is routine for her, unfortunately. Ooh. Yeah, if you ever suddenly, like, get a thing in your throat? Ugh. Yucky. What was that about? And body suddenly being like, you had too much Greek food, I'm going to remind you of that. I don't need reminding. Drawing creepy Rousey is making me sick. Uh-oh, I won't do a lot more of that. I'm in trouble. How dare you make the fluffy boy creepy? But it's fun. Whew. Man, since I finished the Caddy and Jockington comic, I still haven't gotten very far on the next one either. I did like the script for it, and that's it. I haven't been able to even like do layouts yet. Kind of been ridiculously busy. Just doing regular stuff. I'm definitely not going to start on that before chapter 5. I'm not going to have time, so maybe it was for the best. Honestly, don't know how much chapter 5 stuff I'm going to include in Eldritchrune, if anything. I don't think, for example, Asgore would apply the same way. He's doing a courtly bow. Always at your humble service. That is true. Also, sorry, Martlet's gonna die. People on Patreon already know this. Yeah. There's a point where it's like, okay, I can't keep up with what's going on in canon, so off it will split. But I do really hope I'm able to finish all of this by the time that Chapter 6 is out. I don't really want to be racing the clock on Chapter 7. I'd rather take a breather from a major project between 6 and 7, because I do want to do a major Deltarune project after the full game is out, but I don't want to jump straight from Eldritchrune into the next project. I'd like some time to, take a breather and work on, kind of practice on some other things I want to do as well. So, I'm sure I'll be doing plenty of Deltarune art between 6 and 7. That ain't gonna stop. But I don't think I can do a full AU in that time. So hopefully this will help me finish the ending before Chapter 6, but they're already like, some of us might move on to Chapter 7 by the end of the year, and I'm like, oh! Don't want to dump them, oh no! But OCs are fun. I feel like I always have trouble making up OCs, like whenever I see people just making up an OC, I'm like, but what story is attached to it? Like, if I'm making a story, making an OC, I can't just do them, kind of independently of anything else. They have to, be part of a narrative that's already happening. But I'm always impressed with when people can do that. Even back in the days of yore, when I was, and I already did this on the wrong layer, didn't I? Yes, I did. Back in the days of yore. Oh, good grief. Please just give me my lasso. Crossover to existing stories. Yeah, that is what people often do. I have attempted to do that sometimes. I've attempted to rehabilitate some characters that were horror fan thing that never really went anywhere and put them someplace else. Never quite worked out all the way, but attempts were made. But usually their role is so tightly entwined within what the actual narrative is that I can't really transplant them. Just kind of how it is. I see people just post they're really cool looking OCs and stuff like that. And I'm always like, okay, that's really fascinating. And I don't know what it is that prevents me from inventing a character that's basically separate from a narrative. But I can't usually do it very well. Probably why I don't have a million personas. I just have well, this is a persona that's me. Whereas some furries have a bajillion different personas depending on mood or situation or whatever. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. I don't know how to do that. It needs a narrative. Why are they this way? Which I guess is kind of interesting, because I guess that Toby does the same thing, which I wouldn't have expected. It was kind of surprising, but was interesting to hear about. Also, we might need to stop soon. Take a break and turn off these lights. How can you draw this? There's no narrative. Literally me. It's not even like a critique, because people make such cool stuff, but my thought process is always but they need to go into narrative. So I'm kind of fascinated by people who can do that independently. We love us some teepees on Rousing. Okay. before I continue, even though I think this is a little bit... no, I can go a little bit more. Let's finish off the page, and then we'll take my break and turn off Alfie's lights, stuff like that. It's fun to do scary teefies on a character. This will get us through page 2, which is cool. I don't know, I just find it very interesting how, like, during the 10th anniversary, Toby is like, oh, when I come up with characters, the main thing I'm thinking about is their role in the narrative, which I find very fascinating because I feel like everybody kind of assumes that, like, especially because the Undertale characters are so strong, that they just kind of, like, weren't created they exist independently of the story. Like, that's kind of how people imagine them in their heads, I guess. And then Toby was like, no, the role in the narrative was what I considered first. It wasn't really what I was expecting, but I don't know, I feel like something can be gleaned from that. I'm not sure what, but something can be gleaned from that. My room, so we know that he knows about the Fun Gang, Lightner's Desire, and Chris's room. Have 3 crowns in Susie's room. I don't know. On the other hand, I don't think Rouse knew Susie as well as he does Chris. Because, for example, we know, oh, she's really into kaiju movies. She likes giant monster movies. So why didn't we have any indication of kaiju movies and stuff in her room? Like, even all the stuff in the fridge is, like, stuff that basically Rouse knows she already ate. Like, pine cones and jawbreakers and stuff. So Rouse was doing his best, but I actually think with Susie he's working with much more limited information than he is with Chris. Whereas Chris's room is pretty much like, what if your actual room from the light world was, you know, more colorful and freeing and everything. She is part of the prophecy, though. She is part. She is the girl. That's what it said. I mean, heck, the prophecy gives even less information on Chris. They don't even call Chris a person. They just say Chris is the cage. That's pretty stark. Even Susie's like, dang, prophecy's not treating you very good, Chris. We will finish up Asgore here, and then, stop that. I deeply believe you two are the heroes of the legend. And he certainly seems to think so. Prophecy seems to think so. Since the pictures there are like, yep, this is what they look like, so... For all intents and purposes. I mean, that is a fan theory that, like, oh, she's not supposed to be the girl, but... There's not really much evidence towards that, aside from, like, oh, narrative potential. Okay, I guess the question is, why is that what he got wrong? Because it seems like everything else, he knows way more than he wants to. He's probably still hiding information from us. So why is that what he got wrong? How is that what he got wrong? And I guess also the question is, like, if they are doing the things that the prophecy says they are supposed to do, if they are acting as heroes, then what does it matter if they are not the correct heroes? They essentially are. If you are walking the walk, then you're talking the talk. If you're doing it, then you're doing it. didn't need to show up together. Why not? I definitely think that Susie is a person to challenge fate, for sure. But I think that, Rouse would agree with that. He doesn't want things to end the way he does. So if there was, like, some kind of out in terms of, oh, hey, maybe we can avoid the prophecy. And even then, he says that. He's like, until we see fate with our own eyes, let's, try and listen to Susie's hope kind of thing. Rouse is not very pro-prophecy, so if he knew that, Susie could give them an out, I think he would absolutely lean into that. But even after all of this, he's still afraid. I think what he was hoping that, because he said, I was hoping that by the time we got here, it would have changed. And I think he was devastated by the fact that they did get there and it didn't change. So his thought was like, it can't be changed because we've tried to do things in a way that will change it, and yet it's still here. Or I've been trying to steer things in a better direction. It's still unchanged. So he doesn't really have reason to believe it can be changed. He's hoping it will. But as far as he can tell, it's still there. Okay. I need to turn off Alfie's lights. It's time for bedtime. For the girl. Look at your silly head. Where are you taking my water? I'm taking it so it's not so humid. I need to clean your tank tomorrow. It's such a mess. What a mess. We gotta clean it. Alright. The lights out, and then I need to do my stretch break. So let's stretch break. Yeah, there's the emotes. For Alfie's bedtime. She's on her hammock tonight, which is so cute. Oh, hello. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. I am drawing right now. Obviously, we got the comics out instead of games. I'm doing a bit of a stretch break because I got to stretch regularly to take care of my wrist. And then after a stretch break, we'll be back with more. Thank you for coming. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty decent. Well, I'm realizing, it's going to be warm this weekend, so I need to get ready with some fans and stuff. I don't want to break out my giant AC thing yet, but that's probably coming in the near future. Ooh. Also, man, I remember that one little gif of the creature licking the screen. That was like all the rage on DeviantArt like 15 years ago. I'm glad it's still around. I'm glad it has not been lost to time. It's very important. Chilling is good. It's the weekend. It's time for chilling. A Noel version? Perfect. Perfect. It says 2480. You're almost there. You're almost there. Just a little more. Just a little more. But yeah, it tends to round it up or down or whatever. They don't want to list out all the points, because if you have like a 10 bajillion points, that gets probably obnoxious to list out, I'm sure, in some capacity. At least I assume so. I don't know. We have 2 pages out of this, out of 7, so progress. At the very least, even though the ending itself is like 20 parts long, each of the parts so far has not exceeded 11 pages, so hopefully that stays that way. Alright, be right back for one more stretch and water. Alrighty, I'm back. Back from showering. Hope it was a good shower. We're also just flipping the light switch on and off. Welcome to hell! Welcome to hell! Welcome to hell! I usually take morning showers. I don't like taking a shower right before bed. And then I go to bed with the wet hairs. Well, that can be refreshing if you have, like, the triple thread of, like, you cleaned your sheets and you did your laundry. So your laundry is clean. And then you clean yourself. So your body and your clothes and your bed is clean. Like, that triple thread is, like, that's nice. Yeah, probably better if you have very short hair. It's nice to be clean. Yeah, if you have, I need to cut my hair again, honestly. I'm getting to my semi-annual haircut. Every time I go get my haircut, they're like, when was the last time you got it cut? I'm like, I don't know. Sometime. Some people go and, like, get it monthly or whatever, and I can't do that. I mean, I can do that. I don't really want to do that. One problem with Eldritchrune stuff is I feel like I'm not super consistent with what, like, Chris's hair length should be at certain points in the story. That's probably one of the hazards of, like, jumping around out of chronological order is, like, how long should their hair be here? Because it's supposed to be getting longer for a while, and then they cut it sometime before they get back, but at the same time, it's not like they have all of one haircut probably in the Dark World. We ain't got time for haircuts. Plus, it is just fun to draw Chris with, like, a really long, shaggy hair. To the point where, like, I sometimes trip up. Because I've mostly been drawing, like, you know, Eldritchrune Chris with their long hair. And then I get back to Canon Chris, and I'm like, wait, no, their head is not like a shaggy mop covered with hair. They have regular hair. I mean, it's a bit of a shaggy mop, but not that much. Some people track Fortnite to episode 6 based on Zooble. Good grief. Stuff I would not begin to think about, but people do think about. Gotta watch out for that. What was the inspiration behind the nightmare Susie scene in Paper Trail? Basically for that whole part, it was supposed to be like a nightmare for both of them in terms of things that they were both either remembering or were afraid of in some sense. For Chris, obviously, it was the backstory on actually being made as a vessel, and for Susie, it was her fear about hurting people she cared about because of her hunger. As her undiagnosed carnivorism. So basically, the inspiration there was just, as a nightmare version where she was just, like, out of control bestial. Originally just intended for that one scene. And then it just kept going for Eldritchrune, and then there was a bunch more, and then we're here today. But I ain't complaining, because that was a fun design, and I was a little sad that I only got to use it for that scene, and then not again. That's why I need to design a dragon Susie for canon stuff. The design of Nightmare Susie? In what way? Because it was mostly just supposed to be like Susie, but bigger and scarier and very big teeth. Because her fear was like, again, she was carnivorism but didn't really understand it, and so the goal there was basically a big giant monster with big teeth. I know it looks like the one SCP. I can't help that. Actually, it doesn't even quite look like that, because the SCP looks like a big skeletal thing. But I'm pretty sure it's based on like a whale bones or something like that, the original photo. Yeah, I know it's 682. Like, I know that it looks kind of lizard-like, but like usually it kind of looks like the flesh is rotting off because they're always keeping it in acid. The only comparisons are that it is a big quadruped lizard with hair. Otherwise, SCP-682 looks pretty different. Like, usually his eyes are covered. Again, his flesh is rotting off. I'm pretty sure he's usually depicted as green, not purple. That's what I figured. Usually if you find a weird thing on the beach, it's a decayed whale. Good grief, why can't I ever do this right? The layers. Yeah, fun creepy eyes. We like to draw some creepy eyes. I gotta put these on the correct layer for once. Good grief. Okay. There we go. Doodle request. Raiders of the Lost Ark type ending. I'm curious what that means. Destin and Susie having a tense stare down. Okie dokie. Let's see. Yes, I have seen Raiders of the Lost Ark a long time ago. Like, I know that the Nazis' faces melt off when they see the Ark of the Covenant. I know that much. So, do you want, like, faces melting off? Is basically that? Like, as you know, that happens? Well, might be a little of that. I don't think it'll make people happy, but there might be a little of that. But no, their faces don't melt when Asgore sees them. Okay, let's see here. I'm not sure what design we're going to do for Des here. I feel like my design for her changes every time. Then we'll give her more knight-like antlers. A bit sharper. And ratty hair, stuff like that. He was confused why Han Solo was there. God will smite you. I mean, that is kind of the point of the arc, is like, hey, be careful with that. That's kind of a sacred thing. Don't mess with it. Also, why are you seeing Raiders of the Ark at age 5? Don't do that. Put her in her flannel, I guess. Oh, passing TV. Okay, so it wasn't like something you were actively watching. I see. I see. I was probably exposed to stuff way too young at 5 accidentally too. It just kind of happens. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a good movie. To be fair. I was just watching a thing on Spielberg recently. Interesting. Her eye is not down there. Get a little bit closer. So I heard. Like, I think the Star Wars movies, like the original trilogy, is good. Obviously, well, honestly, I'd say what makes the original trilogy so good is the editing. They have really tight, good editing. Between them. Pretty sure Star Trek's Nazi planet costumes. Oh, I'm sure that stuff got reused a whole bunch. Like, you know, if you've already got some costumes lying around, don't make new ones. Just borrow the ones somebody else made. Save yourself some time and money. Yeah, Star Trek obviously working on a tight budget. So what if we went to Nazi planet or Clown planet or whatever planet? Rivalry. So we have a Susie and Des rivalry. Then Susie gets snoozies. She goes to bed. And everything's fine. Marcia Lucas. Yeah, that was it. I think they eventually divorced, but at the time they were married. Get out of here, Discover. Ultraman. Or does Godzilla use Ultraman? Yeah, they invented PG-13. Actually, I think they invented PG-13 because of the second Indiana Jones movie. Because there was, like, stuff in there that was, you know, a little bit too cartoony for adults, but it was, like, deeply scary for kids, so they needed kind of something in between. Not Raiders of the Lost... I'm suddenly forgetting the name of the second movie. Temple of Doom. That's right. That's what it was. It was Temple of Doom. But, like, I from what I understand, like, that was what created the PG-13 rating. Was we need something that, like, okay, a teenager is probably fine to see this, but don't bring your 6-year-old to see people's, you know, bodies being melted off and eating hearts and whatever. Although I don't think Temple of Doom is that great of a movie. Oh, was Gremlins the reason? Could have been Gremlins. Could have been either of those, I suppose. Was it Gremlins? Maybe. Gremlins is, I think, feel like a little bit more childish than Temple of Doom, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Gremlins could have been one of the nails in the coffin. That's possible. Suppose I should actually sit down and watch all the Gremlins sometime. I've only seen, like, pieces of it. And I haven't seen Gremlins 2. What I have seen is all the MST3K knockoffs for it, like Hobgoblins. 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 What do you do with those hobgoblins? It does have Short Round. I don't... Winnie was not very fun, but Short Round was cool. And then he grew up to be in Everything Everywhere All at Once and was really good in that. Love Willie unironically? That's fair. To be fair, if I was in that situation, I would act exactly like how Willie is. So I can't even complain. That's true. Okay, probably the worst part of Temple of Doom is, like, how weird and racist it is about, like, Indian beliefs. That's probably the most problematic part of Temple of Doom. Although, like, as, like, set pieces, you know, fun stuff in there that would be probably a lot more fun if we weren't tying it to, like, a real country and just made stuff up, but what can you do? Yeah, ugh. Like some chilled monkey brains. It's like, I don't think anybody eats those. I think you made that up. India wouldn't let them film there. Good on India, I guess. Or intentionally eating meat, yeah. See what, if you want some really fun Indiana Jones stuff, Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. There was like a whole VHS set that my friend had of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. And it was basically like, here, we're going to put like Indiana Jones before he became an adult, but he was like, you know, a young adult or a teenager in like, you know, various cool times around history. And he's meeting all these cool people in like, you know, the first half of the 20th century, stuff like that. And that was pretty neat. I'm pretty sure there was probably like problematic stuff there too that I don't recall. But like they were nice, short little, actually they weren't that short. They're probably like an hour each, sessions, but they were fun. A lot of fun stories. Were the monkey brains supposed to be that? A long time since I've seen that movie, so. Meant to be the thuggies deliberately trying to scare out a bunch of foreigners with gross food they normally don't have, but the effect, yeah, that, I could see that. I could see that. That subtlety might be lost on a regular audience. They cut a line that explains the strange food. Oh my goodness, don't do that! Audiences are dumb! Don't do that! People are just going to assume, well, this is what they eat in India. No. Not look into the cult so they ate meat, and Indy would point that out. They're the bad guys. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't think that effect was driven home very well. Is that that's a video game, isn't it? It looks like a video game where he finds, like, Noah's Ark, which I guess it works. Surprisingly edible, even the monkey brains. I don't really like organ meat, though. I would not eat a monkey brain. Yeah, why do they cut that line? That seems kind of important. Woof, woof, woof. Choices were made. It was like a really good Jacob Geller video essay on like, hey, Indiana Jones, like, lives in a world where basically they confirmed through, like, magic and archaeology that God exists and is real. And he's just kind of like, okay, well, that doesn't concern me. And how kind of weird that is. Yeah, God's real. I saw him. Not my business. It's Indiana Jones. I don't know if Indy really was, like, a Christian, though. Indy kind of came off as, like, agnostic or atheist. Like, he's not a religious person. I don't know, if I found out God was real, I'd be kind of like, might alter my behavior at least a bit. The Hindus worshipping Kali but not Shiva is incredibly blasphemous and against basically all teachings. You betrayed Shiva, so, I don't know. Okay, it was made to look like that way, and they cut the line that explained it so audiences didn't understand it. No! Does he mention being Christian? I guess it's like, people like he grew up Christian, because almost everybody did. At least if you live in the West. Last Crusade is leaning a bit more into Christian faith stuff. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing about Last Crusade is like, I'm going to go find the Holy Grail that Jesus drank from. It's real, and also like it uses Jesus magic to like kill Nazis, which, you know, cool reason to use your Jesus magic. Can't just rule out everything as magic. We do see other adventures where there's no supernatural stuff, but if you were in a situation where, like, even if you had one adventure where you were confirmed to be like, yep, God is real and uses the God magic on us, I think that's gonna, you know, that's kind of a big deal. Because the whole point of, like, you know, most religious faith is like you can't know that you know whether it exists or not. You have to go off of faith. So if you have like this experience where like that is definitely supernatural and proof that God exists, it's just interesting that Indy's, you know, reaction is like, well, won't let that ruin my day. Roped him in further to stop the Nazi. Yeah. Basically, Indy knows God exists. So, yeah, I guess by that point he probably should. If it takes place like after Last Crusade and all that stuff, like he should probably know by now. Like what do you have to? Yeah, when you find like the Ark. Ooh. Excuse me. Ooh. Oh, Great Circle takes place in 1937, which is before Last Crusade. Okay, I don't know my Indiana Jones lore. Then I think that's what we can take away from this. I'm not very well versed in Indiana Jones. I think my problems. Ugh. Hey, if you're a nerd for something, it's fun. Again, Indiana Jones is a good series. I'm just not very well versed in it. My knowledge is kind of peripheral. Temple of Doom is 1935. Wait, does Temple of Doom take place before Raiders of the Lost Ark? 93, Temple of Doom, Raiders is 36, Great Circle is 37, The Last Crusade is 38. What a busy few years! Good grief. Guy has no time to calm down. He basically, like, met God 3 times in 4 years! And then also, if you count Temple of Doom, it's like, oh, by the way, also the Hindu gods kind of exist, so they're all real. Onyx Young Indie Show, yeah. That's true. Young Indiana Jones, like, he's constantly doing adventures. That's just, like, how he does stuff. The Fate of Atlantis, 1939. We love Atlantis. He saw Atlantis. He knows Atlantis is real, which I guess is different from the Disney Atlantis. People love Atlantis because you make up whatever you want. It turns out every religion is right. Anyway, I'm still agnostic. Then again, if like every religion is right, probably the response is like, I guess I gotta be agnostic about it. Do I have to choose? I want Indiana Jones but Deltarune. What would that look like? Could they go to like an Indiana Jones world? Instead of a Flower Japan world? I don't know how he fits into a prophecy. I don't know, he'd need a role. I mean, yeah, he'd probably be a Lightner unless he was like a movie character. I'm kind of wondering when I should take my stretch break, because I usually only go until 10. But that would cut my time short. Whew. Maybe we can go a little bit longer. I like drawing the teeth. I'm deeply fascinated by, like, which kinds of media seem to exist in Deltarune and which don't. Like, Smash Brothers exists, apparently, but it's different. Beauty and the Beast exists, which, you know, in a universe that has both humans and monsters, you gotta wonder how that movie plays. So there's probably a Star Wars and Indiana Jones in this universe. Fascinating. Fascinating. Disney Star Wars, no! I am still Christian myself, in spite of everything. But it is fun to think about possibilities. I mean, I'm not surprised George Lucas is done with Star Wars, but I don't think Disney handled the sequel trilogy very well. Probably would have been at least good to go in with a game plan of what you wanted to do across 3 movies instead of just kind of turning a dial on, like, does the audience like this? And then responding to that. That's not a good way to make art in general. Generally a bad idea. Said it might, right, yeah. At this point, like, that's unavoidable, though. Star Wars definitely is, like, a giant franchise with, like, you know, books and games and movies and TV shows and etc., etc. There's really no putting that genie back in the bottle. I am pretty sure that Deltarune will explore. Well, like, one of Deltarune's main themes will be our relationship with fiction. Yeah, that's why people don't really like how FNAF ended. Please don't respond to how people are, like, theorizing about your work. Just do the work. People will either be right or wrong. People who are right will be like, yay, and people who are wrong will be like, oh, and there you go. Saw that Lucas's own draft of the sequel trilogy wasn't great. It's just the sequels didn't do that either. That wouldn't surprise me. Like, people were also really harsh on the prequels when they came out. Again, I kind of think a lot of what made Star Wars work so well was just it was really well edited and put together, and the world building was good. Which was, if anything, I didn't have any... Yeah. Exactly. It doesn't come up with anything new, because it's like, well, we know what the audience wants, and it's what they've already seen, so let's just do that again. It's like... It's really boring. Yeah, like I said in the, theory video, theories are my weakness. To my detriment, probably. I might be happier if I cared about them less. But I do care about theories in as much as, like, I really enjoy trying to guess where a narrative is going to go. Like, that's clearly what I did with, like, a bunch of different stuff I've been in. I like imagining, okay, if I was going to end, you know, this story based on what I have so far, how would I do it? I really enjoy that kind of stuff, which is why we had the paper trail. And honestly, and Growing Pains, and even, Dogs of Future Past, honestly. I find that kind of stuff fun. But that is basically a fan fiction that necessitates theorizing, so that might be unavoidable for me, unfortunately. But as long as you're having fun. I don't know, because I guess the assumption is that... Oh my goodness, I didn't step on the wrong layer! I'm gonna squeal! Because I knew I would do it. I knew I would do it. I knew I'd put this on the wrong layer. Sorry, what were you saying? I do like trying to guess the ending, too. I like trying to guess that as well. Sorry. I just, I feel very stupid. And I figured, okay, what did I put in the wrong layer here? This... sorry about my absolute dolphin screech of madness there. That's what happens when I don't pay attention. F and chat for the... You have to sing the wrong layer song for me. It's the wrong layer song. I feel very stupid for getting it wrong. They're supposed to be separate layers. Okay. Nope. I want to do that. Okay. Alright, that one's a little bit off, but we can change that later. I think we did the rest correctly. Okay. Layers. Layers are magical. My distant dolphin ancestor came out long enough to scream at me for doing the layers wrong. And then vanished again. Oh, yeah, yeah. Like, I agree with you, but I think what people believe is that Blood Crushers, the band, was the band that Des came up with. Because we do know now that, like, she and, she probably roped other people into it, were in a band together. We know she played a lot of instruments. So it could have been that Blood Crushers, the band, was the band that Des came up with. But it might not be. I think it could go either way. Yes, June 24th. Comes out 8 a.m., so I'm going to be playing it immediately. Immediately. Right the heck away. As soon as I get up. Just download and go. The Blood Crusher movies, I don't think she made those. That's why I think she, like, if she made that band, that's why she called it The Band, because Blood Crushers was already a franchise that was, like, horror movies. So her calling it The Band was just to, like, kind of a fan homage, because they already enjoyed the Blood Crushers movies. Yeah, Nirvana the band. Oh, I'm sorry your day was rough. Hopefully I can make it a little better for you. Although I do have to probably stop soonish. Just pull the Nirvana the band. I have to be just back here like, what the hell? Blood pressure. Under pressure. Do, 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 do. Well, Nirvana was a band before it was a movie. That's a bit of the joke. Nirvana was a band. That was the band that Kurt Cobain was in. Nirvana band was a TV web series. So basically, Nirvana has been every medium at different points in time. It's kind of complicated. I heard the movie, like Nirvana the band, the movie, whatever, was a good movie. Or was it a show? I don't know. I didn't see it, but I heard it was good. Oh yeah. Well, that's like Nirvana the concept, as opposed to the band or the movie or the TV show or whatever else it's been. Nirvana the concept has been around for a much longer time. It's just Back to the Future. But it's not the actual movie Back to the Future. More 80s franchises that we can't let go of. Film seems a long time ago. In a galaxy far away, Naboo was under an attack. I thought me and Qui-Gon Jinn could talk the Federation into maybe cutting them a little slack. No actors to play young selves. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's dedication. Good grief. That's like, what was that movie, Boyhood or whatever, where they actually did film it over like 10 years as like people grew up? That's crazy. Dedication. Incredible editing, nice. Editing really is its own beast. Well, if I get the chance to watch it, I will watch it. I just need to track it down at some point. Okay, please don't spoil anything. Don't spoil it, I'll see it at some point, probably. Probably like when I least expect it, it'll be like on TV or something. Wait, it's a time travel movie? Time travel story? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. That's wild. That's a wild time. I do have fun with a good time travel story. I don't want Deltarune to be a time travel story, but I do have fun with them in general. Young versions film themselves. Okay. I will just see it at some point, and then I will understand. Then I will do it. The time travel in Kingdom Hearts. Ooh. Ironically, it made the most sense when it was just like... And then Merlin invented a door and they can go back in time to, like, you know, old school cartoons and beat up Pete, and that was fun. Like, okay, we did some time travel. Isn't that wacky and fun? No, now we're going to take it super seriously, and you can only go back in time if you send your heart all the way back into, like, your younger self, different body, but you don't keep your memories unless you do this, and then... Oh, yeah, Kingdom Hearts has had time travel for a while. Of course they had time travel. No, I don't want to say it should have ended at 2, because then we wouldn't have gotten Birth by Sleep, and Birth by Sleep was honestly a great game. I'm just talking about this last night, like... But Birth by Sleep, honestly, one of my favorite Kingdom Hearts games. And that came out after 2, so... Can't be mad about that. It would have been sad if it ended at Birth by Sleep, because, like, the whole point of that game is that they didn't get really resolution for what happened to them. Everybody was left in terrible places. Basically, I feel like it should have ended at 3, but 3 should have ended better. Is my complicated feelings on that. Yeah, like, I wanted the resolution for all these various plots, and for the most part, like, most of the resolutions were pretty decent. Like, not all of them, but most of them. But, I still would have preferred it ended a little differently. Yeah, I've had people ask, like, are you excited about 4? And I'm like, not really. Why do they look like that? Why are they like real people? Why does Luxord look like a weird creep instead of an anime guy? I want them to be anime characters. Why are they real? Ugh. Yeah, I do imagine they're going to do a Disney movie. Like, somebody did point out how, looks like Moana will show up at some point. Which makes sense. Moana's a pretty popular movie right now. We do have Goofy and Donald, yeah. So, I mean, Disney has always sucked. I'm sorry to say that. That's just kind of how it's always been. Yeah, Moana's at the heart of the world's thing. Like, Moana would be a pretty decent choice, actually. Like, if we're talking Disney movies to adapt for Kingdom Hearts, Moana's a pretty good choice. Honestly, my main fear is, like, okay, if the characters... Are you going to turn them back into, like, anime characters for a Disney movie? Or are you going to do, like, the live-action version of Disney movies instead of, like, the actual Disney movies? Because if it's the live-action version, then I think I would just, like, explode. And go to teleport to Nomura's house and knock everything off his shelves. Like a cat. Yeah, that was so bad. Ugh. It was so bad. All these major companies doing it. Also, I think once I finish this page, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, because I do need to do stretches. I've been neglecting them for a little bit. So, the Sword remix. That's a good one. So we would have gotten through 3 pages today. I gotta do my stretches, so I'm gonna do that after I finish this page, which we're almost done with. Can't neglect the stretches. At least my wrist has been pretty good today. Thankfully, I did massage therapy on Wednesday. Always a help. Oh yeah, you can like whatever you want. I like Kingdom Hearts 1 a lot. I like 2 a lot too, but definitely Kingdom Hearts 1 has a charm that I don't think they ever quite got back. KH1 is really good. I mean, it spawned a franchise for a reason. That didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, it's not that weird. It already started to happen in, like, Chain of Memories. It's a fun premise, but as the universe gets bigger, it gets ironically harder to do the Disney movies so much. And yeah, who knows what Disney was giving the okay or not okay to. Yeah, they pretty much are the same. They pretty much are. Always some kind of, like, get-rich-quick nonsense. It never works. I guess you get a little, like, if you want Disney baddies interacting with each other, House of Mouse, which came out, like, quite a while ago. Doing the crossover baddies. Ugh. Yeah, Disney has their hands in everything. Okay, I think we're done. Rossi coming out pretty decent as we're working on scary Rossi. Okie dokie. I gotta do my main stretches, but this is all, we did 3 pages tonight, so that's pretty darn good. Again, on Sunday, I'll do art again, but I think we'll take a little break from Eldritchrune and try and do maybe some cooking with kindness drawings. And it's been a while since I've done anything with colors, so that'll be nice to try. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of different Disney stuff out there. But yes, there is. It was fun to just pal around with some Eldritchrune stuff, and I'm sure I'll do more of that later. But yeah, next Sunday, we'll try and do some different art. That'll be fun. Thank you guys so much for coming. We're 12 days away. I'm gonna go insane. I've been telling all my friends how crazy I'm gonna go. So we'll keep counting down. Thank you guys so much for coming. I hope the rest of your weekend is good. Actually, 11 days, I guess that's true. Not quite, because I'm on the West Coast. But essentially, a little less than 12. All that stuff. We can chat more about it on Sunday. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully I'll see you on Sunday. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Alrighty, good night.